Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Authenticity Speaks. My name is Trista, the host of this podcast. I am unscripted today, and I'm not doing a normal episode today because I think it's important to talk about struggles. And I don't think everybody on the internet is perfect, and I'm putting that out there. And so I kind of want to talk about what I'm going through right now that is leading to a lot of burnout for me, fear, procrastination, productivity, etc. And I don't think it's fair for me to just get on here and be like, this is how you make your life perfect. Because right now my life feels really chaotic and anything but perfect. I had a plan to go over values in this podcast and talk about like living up to your values and doing what you can to make yourself happy. However, I think that today I need to do a different episode. When I say I've been feeling really burnt out lately, I mean really burnt out. Like the priorities that I have in my life are so askew, and I want to put more energy into this podcast. However, there are other things kind of like walls in my way in order of me like getting to that point. And let me kind of explain. So the first thing that's been going on in my life, my sister and I have been trying to buy a house, and we've been searching since like March 13th, like a long time. And how the housing market sucks, I'll be honest. And so every Saturday, usually when I would want to prepare my podcast, film my podcast, get it edited, and get it ready for the Wednesday, I've been waking up early, going and doing that. And when I'm come home, I'm just so burnt out from the exhaustion of thinking how much it's going to cost, what work needs to go into it. And I know that, not everybody can buy a home. And so this isn't me complaining about buying a home at all. I think, if you financially can do it, you should. But this is more me saying like my energy has been getting put into that primarily. And it means I've been putting things to the side that I really shouldn't be putting to the side. I'll give you a few examples. I have an exam that I'm taking in about, a little over 2 weeks is when the exam should be getting taken. However, I don't feel ready. I don't feel ready for it at all. And a lot of it is because my emotional energy has been going towards home shopping. And I'm like, maybe I need to reschedule this and for a time that not everything is going on. So that I can have like my energy fully into studying rather than 40 different things. The other thing that has been taking a lot of my energy is my sister and I's podcasting catch up. Now, honestly, like I love this podcast because it's me. It's the most like authentic me, just describing and having outreach to clients, to people who need therapy help. Like that's what is most important to me about this podcast. However, I don't feel like I can fully show up for this podcast if my brain is not mentally there. The thing about my sister and I's podcast is that one is like a weekly type of news podcast, and I have a lot of fun with my sister doing that podcast. However, I'm not only running the social media for both, which I've been failing at, but I'm the one editing both the podcasts, uploading both the podcasts. So I've been a little burnt out on that. Not only those two things, the house shopping, or those two podcasts, the house shopping, my two jobs, right? Like emotionally, my two jobs take a lot out of me. This really does sound like I'm complaining. Again, I'm so grateful to be in the position I am, to have two jobs, to be able to look for a house in this freaking mess of an economy, to, have the ability to put out podcast episodes or have access to media to be able to do those types of podcasts. However, with everything going on, I feel like I haven't put enough time and energy into studying for this exam. And I don't know. There's something. So I have diagnosed ADHD. I do take Adderall, which helps. But, I'm basically doing 4 jobs between 2 podcasts and then both of my jobs, that by the time the weekend comes around, I'm like at 100%. And then when I have to record and look for houses, I go to like 150%. And this podcast is literally just me being honest, that I want to be able to put 150,000% into this podcast. And right now, because I am focusing so much energy, I need to take one thing off of my plate for a second. And this is just like a temporary goodbye, is what I'm saying. Is I need to really take time to study for my upcoming exam, because things will fall into place. I will have a little bit more money for the home that I'm going to be purchasing. I'll be fully licensed, meaning that I can practice therapy on my own finally. Like when you're in your associate license or your pre-license, you have to have like a supervisor over your license, so that if you get sued, somebody can, well, you have to be supervised by that person to be like, yeah, you're doing therapy correctly. And I want to, like, as much fun as that is, I also don't get paid as much, because I'm not like, people can't seek me out for a fully licensed therapist, if that's making sense. Like, they're just looking at me as like a step below. I don't know how to describe that, because I am a therapist. I am providing things, but I need to be, this exam I'm taking is called the AACMHCE, and it's like a diagnosis exam. So basically they give you like a case study, and they tell you to come up with different treatment goals that's best for the person who's coming in, different diagnoses that you should be giving this client, et cetera, et cetera. But because work has been crazy, because both of these podcasts have been crazy, like my mind hasn't been on that. And I am that type of person to push it to the side, because I'll be honest, I don't want to study. I would rather be sitting on this podcast all day long talking to you guys. But my podcast episodes are getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, because I'm so focused on wanting to produce content that I'm not happy with, that I'm not focused on like getting that piece of the puzzle out of the way, so that I can have more energy into things like putting time into content. Right now, it's like a burnt out feeling of like, oh, I should really be doing this podcast and doing my assignment. I'm going to sit and doom scroll on my phone, because that's me avoiding doing this podcast. And then when I've been recording, I'm like, whew, that's over with. Anyway, moral of the story. And again, this is me coming on here for a quick, like, everybody needs a little bit of a reset. I need a little bit of a reset today. And I honestly might take off next week as well and be back in 2 weeks, just so that in these next 2 weeks, I have time to study for this exam, feel my utmost best, so that when I do return, I'm putting 110% effort into it, because I've taken one thing off of my plate that is stressing me out. I don't know about you guys, but when I look at like a 40 things on a to-do list, my mind goes crazy. But when I only look at 3 things at a time, I'm like, okay, I can reach this. But with the 4 things at a time, I'm pushing that last thing out of the way, because I just really, I don't know. Like, it's almost like, is this a universal term? Senioritis. When you're like reaching senior year of high school and you're just really tired, and you're just like, if I have to do one more assignment, I'm going to pull my hair out, because that's what it feels like to me. It was the same way when I was in grad school and even undergrad, when I was up to those last hours, those last assignments, those last parts of my day. I was just like, I cannot wait to be on the other side of this. And that's how I'm feeling right now. Because once I'm on the other side of this, guys, I don't have to worry about the pressure of doing my assignments anymore, or doing any like school, study, any of that crap, right? The only way that I have to worry about that is if I'm doing like extra licensing. For example, I got licensed in EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so I had to, like take an exam, obviously, to be able to be certified in that. So that's the only thing it's for things that I want to be certified in. And I want to be certified as a therapist, but when you're sitting in a, 5-hour exam versus like a 30-minute exam, there's kind of a difference there. So bottom line here, and this is what I want to say. It is okay to say, I need a break. This is not me accepting defeat. This is me saying, I will see you in a bit. I just need a minute because I am burnt out. And hopefully I can be in a little bit of a better mindset and a little bit of a better process to be able to get episodes out to you guys that are more substantial and mean more to me than, I don't know. And again, I'm considering rescheduling, taking my exam so I have a little bit more time to study, because just a little bit over 2 weeks seems like not enough time for me. And my sister and I's podcast, because she relies on me for that podcast as well. I also need to put time into that because she's doing it. So that's the podcast I'm choosing not to drop at this time, because this podcast solely relies on me, and I want to put the best content out there and not have quick 20 seconds of here's the lesson of the day, see you later. Anyway, I'm hoping this makes sense to you. Everybody needs a break sometimes, and that's just kind of where I'm at between everything I'm juggling in my life. I just want to be 100% transparent with everybody about what's going on so that I can show up for myself and for others. Therapists struggle too, guys. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this week, next week, maybe the week after. Again, I'm hoping to really dive into studying so that when I'm done and I've taken my exam, I will be back here. And that first episode back will be me doing values. I like I said, I already started planning that episode. So I guess this is going to be my sneak peek. It's a creating a life with values, as this is something that I've done for myself. And it's, I actually started the episode talking about getting my full licensure, needing to, make sure that I'm getting ahead of things, but I've just been so tired and trying to catch up with anything. But yeah, creating a life with values and how you can do that and ways to identify your values. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like, the hard thing is I want to do that podcast so bad, and I want to put my life and my effort into it, but I need to focus on myself first. So I'm going to be taking some time off for the next few weeks just to get myself back on a balanced track, kind of like I said with that balanced episode. And I will be back with the Values podcast. So until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye.